if you're going to change a culture, Aaron, there has to be differentiation. What's a good employee? What's a bad employee? Okay, this is revenue operations. It's either there's revenue or there's not. Okay, and somebody needs to know that they're not doing a good job. And I think that's where communication comes in. Some companies don't even do one-on-ones anymore. They don't even do annual reviews. How do you give that feedback if you're not formally meeting with an employee that says, hey, this is serious. This is what I like. This is what I don't like. How do you correct that in a company, or do you see that?
I do see that a lot. Boy, there's a lot for me to respond to there. So I'll start by pushing back on the idea that there is such a thing as a good employer and a bad employee, and just say, not because it's not true, but because it's not a useful way to think about it. It creates conflict that is not constructive. And I'm a big fan of conflict. So I think there's an effective employee for this job, and there's an ineffective employee for this job. So you've got to be effective. And effective includes contributing to the culture, contributing to the team that we're trying to build. So you're either effective or you're ineffective. And ineffective can also include just actively destructive. There's, are you effective? And then comes the feedback. Yes, you're effective. No, you're not. And I've done a whole podcast and do a workshop with people on what does accountability actually mean. One of the reasons we have conflict around accountability conversations is I'm saying accountability and you're saying accountability, but we're not talking about the same concept. So it's got 4 pieces. One of them is reliability. Do you do what you say you're going to do? So effective feedback requires incredible specificity. You said you were going to make 30 calls yesterday. You made 20. That's 2/3. Let's talk about why. You're intended to close 2 meetings with those 30 calls. You closed 4. That's incredibly effective. Maybe we don't want you making 30 calls. Maybe 20 calls or even 10 might be better. If you can close 5 with 10 calls, then shit, do that. And your mavericks are the people who are effective without being reliable. They don't do what they say they're going to do necessarily, or they don't meet the expectations in terms of what are the metrics of behavior, but they meet the expectations in terms of the metrics of effectiveness. Well, then if you want to have a sound culture, you've got to change the expectations so that you're meeting that maverick where they live. Instead of having a rule breaker, you just change the rules.